Thank you, Greg. Hi folks, I'm Luis Bermudez, and we're going to wait a few minutes for others to join. Greg, can you please confirm that you are seeing my screen?
I do see your screen. I see you're in not slide mode, but you're in sorter mode.
Okay, is this better?
That is right.
Perfect. So I will wait 1 minute or two. If you have also any questions, expectations, please feel free to put it in the chat at any point and add more information to what I'm presenting in order to respond to your question. Good. I see we have 25 people online. Great. Also, the idea is that I think I'm going to spend about 30 minutes, and I would like to have also some times for discussion. So the purpose of this webinar is not only to provide the information, but also the opportunity for you to discuss these topics with the OGC staff. Okay, so I'm going to start. It's 10:04. Again, thank you everybody for joining. I am Luis Bermudez. I'm the director of the compliance program at the Open Spatial Consortium. And today we're going to talk about why you need to get a certification, why is it important, how you do it. I'm going to show you how to run some of the OGC tests and then what is the process to apply for certification. And I'm going to show you other tips about, for example, how to save on license fees and how to get some help. Why do we need compliance? And that's a good question. It's because the governments and other organizations are demanding it. This is an example of a request for proposal by the Department of Municipal Affairs, the Abu Dhabi, and they are discussing that they want a technology solution for their municipals. And you will see that in the requirements that details what is needed for the software engineer solutions, that OGC tests are written in the document. So they are required. For example, you will see here OGC, WMS, Web Map Service, WFS, Web Feature Service, and others. This is another example from UK. There is a guidance on application of the Spatial Intelligence Standard and provides the details of how data, for example, based on different domains, should be registered and should be made available. In this case, for example, for maritime geospatial products, talks about using OGC, WMS, WFS, although the W star S stack of OGC standards, and also talks about what type of web services can be used to publish meteorological products. Another example, now in the US, Army is asking for the industry to provide COTS components for terrain imaging in command post and vehicles. And you'll see across the document that is also mentioning OGC Web Map Service, Web Map Tiling Service, WFS, WCS. And finally, another example from Inspire, which is the infrastructure for spatial information in Europe. And this is an example of a guideline about how to specify administrative units. And at the end, it says that it is not mandatory, but the default encoding should be GML. And GML is an OGC standard, and it's also an ISO standard. Okay, so I hope that that was a good motivation for all of you. Now, how many products are there that implement OGC standards? I think there are hundreds, thousands, maybe more. But at the OGC website, we have a list of those, of some of those that organizations go into the portal and register. So you see that in the OGC portal, and I'm providing the link here on the top right, you can search for what are the products that are implementing OGC standards. This is important for the organizations that are seeking to purchase solutions that are compliant or are implementing some of the OGC standards, and also for you to know who else is implementing those standards. This is a free registration database, but most important is that once you are implementing, that you want to get certified. So you want to get this logo that you can put in your products, that you can put in your websites, that you can put in different places that allows you to provide better marketing and hopefully get more business. So we have two testing facilities. One is a production, where that one is the one that we use when you want to get certified, and the other one is a beta testing facility, where we have all the tests that are in process to get approved by the OGC, and we have also the latest version of the tests. I'm going to show both of them. So currently you can get certified for the following tests. So this is catalog services for the web 2.02, geographic market language 3.21, sensor observation service 1.00, sensor observation service 2.0, sensor planning service 1.0, and 2.0, simple feature access SQL 1.1 and 1.21. Web coverage service 1.0 and 1.11 and 2.01, and web future service, also the three versions, 1.0, 1.10 and 2.0, and WMS 1.11 and 1.30. Important to note here that yesterday we made some of these tests new for the first time in the testing facility, and for the first time you will be able to get certification. This is for GML 3.21, for SPS 2.0, Web Cover Service 2.01, and Web Feature Service 2.0. We have some tests in beta that we are hopefully to make available in March 2014. This is OWS Context 1.0, which is new standard as well. KML, which some of you may know, but Google brought KML to the OGC to make it an open standard. Sensor Observation Service 2.0, SLD 1.10, WMS Client, and it will be the first time that we can do client testing and certified client. This will happen in March. WMTS 1.0 and Web Processing Service 1.0. So software companies that want to get certified need to follow the OGC compliance procedure. It is really very easy. You will go to the online testing facility. So if the results are successful, then you will fill a form. But now we have an implementation database where you fill the form online. And then this will take you about 5 minutes to do. and then OGC staff gets notified. We will contact you depending on how big your company is, if you are a member and so forth. Then you need to pay some license fees that are good for 1 year, and then you get the certificate and the compliance logos where you can use those compliance logos in marketing materials. I'm going to discuss some of those steps right now. So this is the testing facility. And I will go to do the demo in a few minutes. And we also have a link where we have all the reference implementations. So if you want to see how an implementation works and how is being, for example, responding to WMS request, you can go and check that list. So let me do a demo here. So I'm going to share my screen. So. Good. So this is the OGC testing facility, Team Engine. And you will see all these new tests. Now, the process is really very easy. You log in. You are required to provide a username and a password. I'm going to go and do the registration process. Well, you can see that is really very easy. And I'm going to use OGC test. What day is today? 20. I'm going to use my favorite password. Email is optional, even you don't need to provide an email, and then you submit. That's how we see these to get a registration in the testing facility. So anybody can test. You don't need to be an OGC member. So the process where you create a new session, and for example, we are going to test, let's say, catalog services for the web 2.02, revision R8. And so I'm going to test CSW 202. And it creates a new session and it asks me for the capabilities URL. Say, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open here another site. And this is the link to get all the reference implementations. And I see that we have 3. I'm going to pick one of them. Let's say I'm going to pick this, copy link, which is implementation in Python. The open source project is called PyCSW. So I'm going to try that capabilities. And I'm going to start the test. Thus, we have a console that is giving me real-time information about the test. This is not always the case for every test, but then you will see the results. It says, okay, it passed. So let's say that was my product. That's okay. So I'm very happy with the results. And now I'm going to apply for compliance. So really, this is how easy it is to test your software product. So let me go back to the presentation. So I'm going to go here again. So now let's say that I'm going to test, let's see what else. Now I'm going to do it like that. Okay, so the other thing that we can do is to test instances. So in that example, I tested a catalog service for the web, which is interface, but also you can test GML schemas, GML instances, and you can test KML only in the beta website. So you can submit a file, or you can provide the URL that access that data. For example, I get future request that is being encoded in GML. So now I'm going to provide a demo on, well, now that you have passed the test, what is the next step? And then the next step is to register the product and to apply for certification. So I'm going to copy that link. I'm going to go here. So similar processes before, you need to get a username and a password. Let's say I already have one here, but the information that is required is also minimum. And you will get to this page where you have a products listing, and I have two here fake listings, which is TerraCool Super Catalog Server. Um, you will see the information that's needed. I need a product name. You need a version number. You can also specify what is the type of your product, information about register, input, platform, your product URL, and all the other information, which is not really that much. So once you have registered the products, your products here in the product listing here, I have two products. I'm going to open this one. Then I'm going to apply for compliance. Okay, so I'm ready to get certified. I already passed one of the tests, and I create a new compliance submission. So I can select a product, and I say, okay, this is the TerraCool Super Catalog Server. And I'm going to select a Team Engine session. And this is the session I already run before. For example, this is one that I ran in 2013, November 20. And it says, well, that the result is passed. Good. And I provide all the information about the trademark license fee. So I need to provide an organization address. I need to provide my total gross annual revenue, because the license fee depends on that. I provide this information. Here is where you put your name, and here you say, oh, okay, yes, I am legally binding uh, for my company to apply for certification for OGC, and I say that this information, confirm that this information is true. So that's it. Then you apply, and that's all the information you need. So it's really very easy. Um, I don't know if we are getting any questions so far, but please send any questions on the chat. Okay. So that's how you do it. Then once you submit it, we get notified, and we will contact you via email about the details, such as the license fee. And let me talk briefly about that. So the license fee depends on if you are a non-member or member, and the total gross annual revenue. So for example, if you are a non-member and you are a very small company, you only pay $100 for a license fee for a product and for a standard version. So this is, in my example, TerraCool Server 1.0 for CSW 2.02. That's the 100 fee that I will pay every year. If I have big company, then I pay a little more. Sometimes I will say a lot more. Um, but then if you are OGC member, and for example, you are a strategic member, this is the maximum that you will pay. And, for example, 5,600 if you are a company that has a total gross outer revenue of more than 500 million, you only pay these, and you can have 30 or 40 products certified. Okay, going back to my presentation. Now, the next topic is, well, so now at this point, hopefully you understand how to use the OGC web testing facility, then what is the process to apply for certification, and now I will let you know what are the process for reducing some of the license fees. Um, Hold 1 second, I think PowerPoint just quit it. Okay, so you can be an early implementer. So when we are developing the test, and for example, in this case, we have KML as a new test, or WPS 1.0, you can be part of the team, the implementation team that is implementing the test as we improve them during that beta period. If you are part of the first 3 implementations, then we can waive the fee for 1 year. So being engaged in the process in the early stages is good for you. Second, you can become a reference implementation. So if you have it can be open source or not, but if you have your product as a web service or free or publicly available somewhere for anybody to exercise, you can become a reference implementation. You need to retest it every year. It should be a branded software that has a version, right? It cannot be a prototype project which has, for example, no version and is not a serious product. Um, Once you become a reference implementation, we will waive the license fee. And the other way is, as I discussed previously, is if you become an OGC member, depending also on the type of membership, you will have a maximum fee that you will pay per year. So associates, which is the lower level of OGC membership, there's no limit, but once you start at the technical level, you only pay for a maximum 4 license fee, depending on what is your total gross open revenue. Principal, you only pay for 2 maximum fees per year, and strategic only 1 maximum fee per year. Um, the other question we most of the times get asked is, well, how do I get help if I don't know how to really implement a standard, or I do not understand the tests? So we have the CITE forum, which has about 300 members, and we have leads for each test that should provide you the support you're needed. So we respond very fast to the emails. It's really a good community in order for you to understand the details behind how to implement an OGC standard. So this is an example. In June 11, 2013, somebody was having problems in WMTS 1.00. So you see here the technical detail of the question, and then it got solved, the same day, and people are always appreciated. So use the CITE forum if you have any questions. Browse the CITE forum because it has also very good hints about how to pass the OGC tests. Now, once you get certified, you are going to get a certificate and you are going to you get some logos. So you can use the mark anywhere. You should always associate with the standard and a product. And that's why we provide live logos. So you will have a URL per product, and that product and this badge that can be accessed via URL will provide a list of all the standards that product has passed. Uh, so that's very good because you can embed that on your web page, and every time, for example, you get a new standard certified, you don't need to change your URL. And you can print this logo and you can use it anywhere. Now, so it's very important when you tell that you are compliant with OGC that you say is certified or compliant. Those two terms are okay, are very good and are respected and people understand. If you are only implementing, you are not certified, meaning you are not paying the license fee, you don't have the certified logos, then you can say, yeah, that you implement, right? Um, and I'm going to show in the OGC database the difference between those two categories. So once you are in the registration, here to sign out. So the certified products in the OGC database appear as green. And you will see here that we have about 400, more than 400 OGC compliance listing and 195 products. This is because one product can have several, maybe 4 or 5 um, standards associated to that product. You can look at all registered products. As you'll see, for example, here, 50 North, they have a sensor planning service 2.0 that is compliant, and that's why it appears in green. And the others, for example, SPS, GML 3.2, etc., for this company, they have not certified, but they are registered in this implementation database, and they can well say that, okay, the 52 North Sensor Planning Service is implementing GML. That's correct. Is a correct way to say it. And we will also make this presentation available, maybe SlideShare very soon, and send it to all the participants. So I'm getting here to 10:30, and I want, as I said, to have some minutes for discussion. So these are the conclusions, and I provide a checklist that you can take to your work. So first is register your product in the implementation database. There is a link here for you to do it. Second is go to the OGC testing facility and run a test for a standard that you're interested on getting certified, or you're interested in improving your product. Once you pass, then apply for certification. That's in the same implementation database where you register your product. If you have any question, if you are not passing the test, then contact the CITE forum, make fixes as needed, and then go to step 2, test the product again, and then once you are certified, promote your product. So that's all. Thank you all very much for. Are there any questions? Greg, are we allowed to have questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Louise, I just shared with you the questions. There's 7 questions that are currently outstanding. Well, 6 that are outstanding. So, just so you know, we'll let everybody know that we had about 56 people register for the session. We had 31 people on the session. We can't cut and paste the list, so it's that's just the way it is. But it was pretty good participation. So that was the first question, Louise. Can you see the questions yet?
Yeah, sure. And by the way, so that was Greg Bueller, and also Denise McKinsey is here with us. She's the executive director of outreach. Um, so maybe with the three of us, we can answer the questions that are posted. So let me see. I have the first question, and I'm going just in order, or where I have them here in my GoToMeeting. This is from Julie. Hi, Julie. How are you? It says many FGDC agencies are not software developers. How do I make OGC standards relevant to agencies that are not only software users? So maybe Denise, can you help me answer this question?
Okay, let me have a look at this. How do I make OGC standards relevant to agencies that are only software users? So, Julie, Greg, are you able to unmute Julie?
I sure can. If she wants to talk, we can find her.
If she wants to talk, because I just want to clarify this a little bit.
Okay, Julie, you're unmuted.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
Do
hey,
you hear
Julie.
me? Or...
Yep, I do. A quick question in clarifying this one. So you're obviously internal of government agency. You're
Yeah.
wondering how you make the standards relevant in that context.
Yeah,
In
I
a government.
realize that this is probably a little off topic for the audience here.
Yeah, no, it's quite a relevant one because my background is actually coming from a government agency in Australia. I guess from our perspective, you saw the examples that Louise showed at the beginning of different government agencies and their procurement policies.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things about making OGC standards relevant is to be able to say within that you're getting a quality level, if you like, of the solution that you're getting. So when you go out to tender or you go out for solutions provision, even if they're Esri users, you can actually stipulate and say, well, I expect a compliance to OGC's WMS, or I expect compliance to OGC's WFS, for example. So what it helps within a government context to do is actually create a better system, if you like, and a more interoperable one. And then it doesn't matter which software is being implemented as long as it's standards compliant. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. That's pretty much what I thought. But, we just recently had a vote on WFS 2.0 as adopting that for FGDC use. And I'm struggling because the voting results from our member agencies was very low. In fact, Ivan talked to that at yesterday's coordination group meeting.
When you say, so they were low on wanting to adopt it, you're saying?
Not low, and low in terms of votes. So how do I make, like I say, how do I make this relevant to agencies that are only software users?
So, Yuli, I think part of the work we do is, having outreach, having webinars, and sometimes we have webinars, Gov Future. I don't know if you have heard them, but we try to go to the agencies where they do not know, for example, about OGC standards, and tell them the relevant of how relevant they are. So I think what we can do is give you more information about the next webinars. Maybe you can share with your agency colleagues.
Okay.
Julie, I was going to say, feel free to contact me offline as well. I'm more than happy to help you work with that as well, with materials, because that is actually getting the word out with internal of government agencies is actually really important too. So quite happy to help support you in that one.
Okay. And concerning interoperability, Luis, I remember that you contributed that section on PlugFest for the SDI cookbook. So you may want to address that.
Oh, that's a very good too. So so this is a new plug fest for the SDI cookbook.
You actually, I just want to say is that, there is limitations to compliance testing. That is not necessarily sufficient to guarantee interoperability, and that's when the roles of PlugFest come in. And
Yes.
address that in the book, that section that you and Stan Tillman contribute.
Oh, yes, yes. So the next step is creating profiles and be able to create tests for those profiles, because that's where interoperability really occurs. Sometimes the standards are too general, and they can have different ways that they can be adopted. Even they can, pass the test. So in the case, for example, for Inspire, they have their own, tweaks in their services. But OGC is trying very hard to work with communities to bring all those rules that are very community specific into the compliance program and be able to have tests to improve interoperability. Yes. So thank you, Julie, very much.
Okay, I appreciated Louise and Denise.
Okay.
No worries, Julie.
So let's see the next questions. So a question from Gaetan Pauline, and excuse me if I pronounce not so good your name. What would be the advantages for a government agency to get certified? That's a good question.
Do you need me to unmute them?
Sure. I think we have like 2 or 3 government agencies that are certified. And sometimes what happens is there are working groups, interagency working groups, and they are sharing data among themselves. And one of the requirements is that they should use standards. And they have a group of developers. Sometimes they are not using a well-known product, which they have their own product to publish their data. And they want to get certified because they want to show their interagency groups or their other groups within the government that they are able to provide a service following standards. So I think the advantages is depending on what the interagency working group you are requires to requirements. So I don't know if you have any other comment, Gaetan. I think are muted.
Okay, we're good. Nothing on that one. The next question is from Glenn Gumpel.
Hi, Glenn. So are test results viewable by anyone? Not currently. We're having some discussions about it. The outcome of the results, for example, what are the conformance classes that they pass, those are available. But we're having some discussions about if we are going to make the test results all available or not. You want to follow up, Glenn, on that?
Glenn, you're unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thanks, Louise. I was just curious if the conformance classes are available. That's fine. I'm just wondering when I'm interested in a certain software or certain vendor, and they're compliant, or they say they're compliant, I'd like to know beyond the mandatory elements what they're compliant to, and as long as I can see the classes, that'll cover it.
Yeah, so we don't have that for every product, but I think that's something important that I can show very fast. I think that's a good question. Let me see.
Well, if I would attend the CITE meeting more often, I'd probably know this.
Yeah, that's okay. So when I have my product listing and associate here list of specification implementations, for example, I will see. Let me see, GML 3.1. So for example, for GML 3.2.1, you will see all these conformance classes, and depending on the ones that you pass, and here we have all these are in red, are the ones that you can get certified for.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, so we are really in process of improving this information. So we will have that information available to everybody.
Thanks, Luis.
Good, okay. Next question.
You had answered John Ford that you'd provide a copy of the presentations to the attendees.
Yes, I will. Do we have the email from everybody?
We don't yet, but we will. We get it after the fact. So.
Okay, very good. Okay, an email from Frank Pescusi. Is compliance for an individual website or for products? That may I be used one or more websites. Okay, so we do compliance for products. However, we have seen if your product is using different technologies, other products, but you have your own branded software, it's okay for you to request compliance. So it needs to be an identifiable product. We are moving towards, but that is a process, and we are in discussions about, well, can we also test and provide compliance for in instances? So if, for example, there is a website with a particular product, can we certify that website? So right now, no, we only certify products.
Okay. If Frank, if you need to follow up, you can do it in the chat, but I can't unmute you. So.
Okay, so another question. Okay, so Frank, good. Good. Okay. So how much would it cost for a WMS product of a government agency? Good. So government agencies are non-profits. They don't have a T-guard. So we will go to the lower level. So this is 100. Okay. Next question from Henrik Julien. Hi, I'm not sure I understand the difference between conforms and implements. Good. Implements is anybody can say implement. So I create a product and I say, well, I implemented WFS. How good it is, we don't know. If they have passed the test, we don't know. Conforms or compliant means that you have passed the test and OGC has verified and you have a logo. Stan Tillman, do you want to mention anything about the issue tracker? This is a good tool to see if anybody else had experience with the same issue. That is a good point. Thank you very much, Stan. So there is another resource other than the CITE forum, which is the issue tracker. So if you go to, this is a wiki that we have where we have a lot of information. And here's the issue tracker. So this is a public issue tracker. And you can see the open issues that we have for all the tests. Thank you, Stan. That was really a good idea to show. Jason Smith, can anyone who is an OGC member browse the implementation registry, or are the entries protected from a broader until protected from broader review until certified? No. Once you are registered in the implementation database, anyone can see it. Greg, I don't know if you have the option to make it that not public.
So. To make the implementation,
the product in the implementation database to be not public.
Oh, I don't believe so. I think it shows on the website, right? I'm sure we can do it. We can hide it, but that's not the point. We're not trying to, right?
Yes. So,
okay.
So anybody can browse the implementation register. Anybody. You don't need to be an OGC member. That's publicly available. And I think you would like to have your implementation publicly available, right? That's good visibility for your product. Yes, so we are going to make the slides available. Okay, I see it. You have no mic. Good. Okay, great. So a question from Carl Rotten. Do you certify other conformance tests, for example, in SPAR national tests like the one from Genova in the Netherlands? That's also a very good question. So what we use is Team Engine, and Team Engine, that's the tool we use for providing compliance and doing the tests online. This tool is open source, and a lot of other organizations are using it. So actually, you can create your own tests, but OGC only certifies implementations for OGC standards. And the test can be developed in a language called CTL, Compliant Testing Language, which is based on XSLT, and also JUnit. And if you are eager to know more about that, then contact me directly, and I can tell you more how to set up the software and so on. But we only certify and work on OGC compliance standards. And I think that's all the questions. I don't know if I'm missing anyone.
If anyone else has any questions they'd like to ask verbally, they can do that as well. Just raise your hand and I'll unmute you.
Good. So
Please, before we go,
yes,
we have a quick poll.
yes, I was going to say that.
You go ahead and finish up.
Cool.
So 57 voted. It means we have quorum.
Don't mention quorum, Luis.
So I really appreciate all of you being here and getting more information about the process. If you have any question, please contact me, contact any OGC staff, contact the CITE forum. There are a lot of ways to get help. And I hope to see you on the next opportunity. Don't leave without voting. Exercise your right as a participant. So Bombay meeting is coming in December. March meeting, I think we're going to have a technical committee meeting in the US. So
yeah, that'll be in Washington.
Yes. Yeah, so it's visit the OGC events and plan to join us. It's very good to learn more about what's going on, new standards, and making a lot of friends.
Brilliant.
Good, very good.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, so thank you, everybody, and see you later. Greg, should we close now, or?
Yeah, go ahead. I'll go ahead and shut it off. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you.